Welcome to Two Useless Organisms with your host, Tristan and Tommy.
Welcome to Two Useless Organisms, a silly topical show where two useless organisms discuss today's hot topics, drink each other's philosophy juice, and read the internet's most unbelievable Yelp reviews. On today's show, we will be discussing double features and legalizing things. Keep in mind that two useless organisms is not safe for work. So, shiz, ash, biznitch, tors, frick, sack.
Yeah, you could say
Pee
that.
pee, poo poo, fuck, fuck, shit, peep, fuck, fuck.
Good job, Tommy.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I'm
yeah,
Tristan.
yeah, I'm Tommy. Yeah.
We're here. We're the two useless organisms. We it's been a little bit since we recorded because I moved for again. I moved so much, but I moved again,
Yeah, man.
and I'm in a new
So
place.
much moving.
So much moving and grooving.
Yeah, I've been in the same place for, I think, 4 years now.
Rub it in. If my
Yeah.
life were a movie, it would be called The Emperor's New Move. Silent laughter, but anywho, it's good to be back.
Yeah, love
It's good
doing
to be
this.
back. This episode, I am planning on it to come out on July 31st. And then on August 2nd, just 2 days later, I fly to Sin City, Las Vegas. So,
Oh,
um, which is interesting because we're going to talk about legalizing things. And Las Vegas is like the Wild West. It's got its own laws over there. But,
oh,
anywho, we're going to hop into Tommy's topic.
yeah.
If you don't have anything else, Tommy. And I actually really liked the topic that you picked this week. What is your topic?
So, in honor of Barbenheimer, I decided let's talk about some of our favorite double features. With the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer doing the same opening weekend, a lot of jokes about the competition between them, or even doing a double feature, which apparently a lot of people have actually done. And they're both, I haven't seen either of them, but I've heard nothing but good things about both of them. So I'm excited to finally get to them. But Tristan, have you seen Barbenheimer or any other double features you wanna?
Well, I have not seen Barbenheimer. I don't go to the movies very often. I do. I have my roommates went and saw Oppenheimer, Doofenshmirtz, whatever it is, last night, and this might be a spoiler. Not really though, but they said there's like 30 minutes of movie after the explosion, and they were like they really just should have ended the movie with the explosion.
Huh. It
So
is a 3 hour movie, so
it's 3 hours. So that's what I'm saying. Time is valuable here. So like there's 30 more minutes of movie after the explosion. I don't know if I'm
yeah.
going to go see that. I might just leave after the explosion. But in terms of the double features I have seen, well, back when we did movie night at our dear friend Eric's house, I know we
R.I.P.
did. I think we did these first three that I'm about to say. The Room and the Disaster Artist,
Oh yeah,
which is the
stole that one from
classic
me.
double feature.
God, that's such a good one.
Hereditary and Midsummer.
Great double.
Oddly enough, my roommates are watching Midsummer out there right now. And then we did Palindromes and Happiness.
Yeah, that was the other fucking weird one that we did.
So those three I just listed, obviously The Room and The Disaster Artist. The Disaster Artist is about the making of The Room. Hereditary and Midsummer were both written and directed by Ari Aster. Palindromes and Happiness were both written and directed by a guy named Todd Solondz. And they're both very disturbing movies. But I think we've actually talked about pretty much all those on this show at some point in time. So my fourth pick that I wanted to throw in as a Disney history guy was Walt Before Mickey and Saving Mr. Banks,
Ooh,
which are both kind of like biopic type movies. Walt Before Mickey was an independent movie that it shows that it's independent when you watch it. However, it's still, if you like the subject matter of Disney history, you're going to like it. And then Saving Mr. Banks is a phenomenal movie. So that's a solid double feature to do right there that I would recommend anybody who wants to learn about Disney history in the form of a movie, if that's how you like to intake your content. So that's what I would say. Tommy, what do you got?
See, funny enough, Saving Mr. Banks, that was the one about the making of Mary Poppins, right?
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking Mary Poppins and Saving Mr. Banks double feature. I think that would be pretty fun.
That, you know what? That might be a better idea than what I said.
Hey,
So
I think it was pretty good still.
I'm a little embarrassed. But they're both like I guess my point with those are
Yeah,
both
no,
biopics.
yeah, no,
But
for sure.
but like The Room and the Disaster Artist, Mary Poppins and Saving Mr. Banks would be like the same type of thing.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true, true. But it's always good to go, same genre and even same director. I got a Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction.
Mm.
That's a phenomenal double feature right there. Big Tarantino guy. I got two other ones, Tarantino that are Kill Bills Volume 1 and 2, which I'm pretty sure he had intended of just making one Kill Bill movie, but then he wrote so much content that he made it two movies and he didn't want to delete any of the content, so he made two Kill Bills. And then also, I think it was released as a movie, but they're also sold separately. Grindhouse, Planet Terror, and Death Proof.
Hmm.
The very ultra violent double feature directed by Eli Roth and Planet Terror, and then Death Proof, Tarantino. So that's a fun one if you're into the ultra violence,
Ooh.
especially Planet Terror. Pretty crazy. Going back to my childhood. Going back to my childhood here. The Scooby-Doo movie and Agent Cody Banks. Let's go.
Okay. Those seem kind of random.
Oh yeah, dude, those were my favorite movies as a kid.
It sounds like you just picked your two favorite movies.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I mean, Barbenheimer are just two random movies, and then
Yeah, it's true.
and actually, something I forgot to mention. 15 years ago, around this opening weekend, we got Mamma Mia and The Dark Knight. So like,
Wow.
yeah,
The Dark Knight is also a Christopher Nolan movie, just like Oppenheimer.
right.
So that's interesting. That would be an interesting one.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if I had to pick, if we're just going off the rails here and just picking
Okay,
movies,
okay,
everyone has seen the first Pirates movie a bunch of times, right? And everyone always says that's the best one, which I'm not going to argue.
okay.
But if you have seen the first Pirates movie a bunch of times, sit down and watch 2 and 3 together as a double feature. Because here's a shocking plot twist: the story doesn't get resolved at the end of Pirates 1. They set up a story about Will finding his dad, and they don't resolve that until the end of Pirates 3. So 2 and 3 were actually filmed together, put out as two separate movies, like Kill Bill 1 and 2, which you were pretty much right. The studio Miramax wanted Tarantino to split them up because it was going to be like a 5 hour movie, and no
You know,
production studio was going to do that. So
cowards.
cowards. So they put them out like a year apart or something like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, Pirates 2 and 3 is what I would recommend, because like that's a double feature I do sometimes, because it actually wraps up the what was supposed to be the original Pirates of the Caribbean story. So like I have the original DVD for Pirates 3, and it says in the final chapter of the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. And then they made two more. But
Incredible.
and the sixth might be on the way, I don't know. But anyway, Pirates 2 and 3 is a double feature that I would recommend if you've seen the first one a bunch of times.
How about Thanksgiving and Birdemic?
Yeah, we did. I don't know if did we knock those out in one sitting, but I know we watched both of them. No,
We
we didn't
definitely
watch Birdemic. We
No, I don't
watched
think we did,
we
but we
watched
did watch
Velocipaster.
Thanksgiving. Velocipaster.
Yeah.
Yes. That movie slapped.
Okay. So, do you remember in Thanksgiving? Do you remember what line of dialogue do you remember the most from Thanksgiving?
The two there's actually just four, but I mean the one that I remember the most is the very first line, "Nice tits, bitch." And then there's "You've just been stuffed," a classic. And then, at the very beginning of the movie, they're going out for Thanksgiving break. One of them, fat dude, takes off his shirt, I think. And then I think one of them goes, "Put your shirt back on. It's Thanksgiving, not Titsgiving."
Okay.
Classic line.
So the reason I ask is we talked about Thanksgiving in the very first Three Guys Without the Wise episode. And the only reason I remember that is because when I made the teaser for it, like a little short audio clip for it, I picked pieces of dialogue from all three of us, me, you, and Eric. And the one I picked from you was "Nice tits, bitch."
So, going 10 years ago back to high school, Tommy,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched Thanksgiving with my mates. And, it opens up in whatever it literally says the olden times, and then there's a pilgrim running through the woods with her boobs hanging out for some fucking reason. She trips, and then the turkey appears and just goes, "Nice tits, bitch," swings a knife, and then it goes, "Thanks-killing." And me and my friends thought that was the funniest fucking thing. We literally stood up and high-fived because we thought it was the funniest fucking thing. And you know that and then we would go on to watch Thanksgiving 3, which you called the opposite of achievement.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you said that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
But
I would concur with that. Yeah.
I've got bad memory, but remind me, there was no Thanksgiving 2, right?
Yeah, no, Thanksgiving 3 was the sequel to Thanksgiving.
I love that. There's a good double feature right there.
I don't know if it's a good double feature, but it is a double feature.
It is 2 movies.
Yeah.
Oh, solid, man. I could sit here all day and come up with more combinations of movies.
Right.
Um,
It's like I'm gonna think of an incredible combination once we finish recording.
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So yeah. That'll be in the comments of the next episode.
Very good. Well, good stuff there. And folks listening, let us know what your double features are. I mean, that is assuming you have the attention span to watch 2 movies, which I highly doubt. You fucking TikTokers and your 10-second videos can't sit down for more than 5 minutes without getting bored.
I mean, honestly, that's very true. Like, I do love a lot of content on TikTok, but it has completely fucked my attention span.
Hmm.
So, like, I definitely don't like if people don't have it, I don't tell them to get it.
Yeah.
Because it ruined my brain, I'm pretty sure. So, but I'm okay with it as I still TikTok.
Your brain was already a big bowl of spaghetti.
Dude, right?
Gosh.
Now it's an even bigger bowl.
Well,
It's not al dente anymore.
it's
Like it's
no.
overcooked.
You got some mush,
It's got mush.
mushy nudes up there.
Mushy nudes. Speaking of mushy nudes, I also forgot to mention earlier this week, I went to a double feature concert. I don't know if any of my listeners have heard of Milky Chance or Young the Giant, some alt rock, indie pop type of artists, and that's always a nice double feature concert. Uh,
I don't think they
yeah.
call concerts double features. Are you sure one just didn't open for the other?
No, because like they were advertised together, and there was
Mm.
actually an opener for them.
Oh, okay.
Because like most concerts have an opener.
Right.
But it was Milky Chance and Young the Giant, and then somebody opened for them.
Mm.
But yeah,
That's like earlier this year I went to a double feature of Motley Crue and Def Leppard,
yeah,
and we were running late to it, and we were like, oh please, I hope Motley Crue's playing first. Please let Motley Crue play first, because we didn't care about them. Vince Neil sounds like trash, the singer of Motley Crue. So luckily we got there, and Motley Crue was into their set, and we didn't miss any of Def Leppard, which was awesome. But I guess I went to that double feature concert
yeah,
a few months ago. But all right, so you saw Milky Way Bar and
yeah,
Yahtzee or whatever the hell.
yeah.
So good.
The year before I did Sublime and Incubus, and then a few years ago the Pixies and Weezer.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right. I know. I
so nice
know.
double features. Yeah, no, like they low key had like a bunch of songs that slapped, and like I remember like and I bought the tickets. It was like I know there's songs by them that I really like, but then like during the show they just kept playing them. I'm like, yo, I never realized how many awesome songs this band has, and like I've been and like they're old band, but like yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
Mm. Very good. Double features, double flicks.
yeah. So if you guys have any good double features, bands or movies, let us know. And before we get into our next topic, this episode of Two Useless Organisms is sponsored by Shrek's Earwax. If you want to make yourself a nice candle, find yourself a nice sexy green ogre, pull his earwax out, and stick candle wicks and then burn them for a nice smelling candle. Get yourself some Shrek's Earwax. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrek's earwax.
Yeah.
I agree. Great product.
Yeah, it tastes really good.
Tastes good. Haven't seen Shrek in a while. Shrek is love, Shrek is life, though. So next time he
Dude, right?
flies into my window and visits,
It's ogre now.
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
It's all ogre now. um,
Ho, ho, ho.
so my topic is, what illegal thing do you think should be legalized? And I specifically included that you cannot just say pot or prostitution because I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah.
Everyone already talks about that.
Those are pretty easy. Yeah,
So I'll do mine first.
yeah.
And mine is gladiatorial arenas. Okay.
Okay, I'd be down for that.
For profit in parentheses. All right. So I don't care who gets the money. If it's some billionaire who's going to say that riders don't need to be paid money, or if it goes to charity, or if it whatever. But gladiatorial arenas for profit. Okay. So criminals, people serving life sentences or who have the death penalty against them, go into the arena and they fight each other under various scenarios, sometimes with different weapons, sometimes in large groups. And the ones that survive certain rounds face the other survivors until the number of criminals gets smaller and smaller. At this point, some of the fighters will have like celebrity, status or whatever, and they can charge more as the fights get later and later in time. Kind of like any sports, as teams start falling out of the playoffs, the games get better and better. You could make a killing doing this because I know this country's full of psychopaths. Full of psychopaths who would love to pay to watch people literally murder each
Yeah.
other. And they're people who are worthless. They're people who are just sitting in jail, rotting, using up time and money and resources. So I think we might as well get some entertainment out of them and make some of that money back. So then we go to the celebrity edition of the gladiatorial arenas, hosted by Steve Harvey, of course. And all the celebrities that usually get off or have extremely reduced sentences in their crimes. Think of that Full House person who had the whole college admission scandal.
Oh my God.
Got like a
Lori
slap on the wrist
McLaughlin or
for it.
whatever her name
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Or like the guy who plays Ferris Bueller literally killed someone with his car and
Oh,
just
fuck, what? I did not know that.
he hit someone and killed them with his
How
car.
have I never heard of this?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know if anything happened to him. You can literally
Shit.
kill people as celebrities and get away with it. So anyway,
Yeah.
then you can have the celebrity edition and they fight to the death. Because they deserve some sort of punishment. They shouldn't get off scot-free. So they might as well die. I mean, right?
I agree.
So that's my idea. So the gladiatorial arenas, just kill them. Come on, these people it could be so entertaining. You could like make them kill each other with rubber chickens.
Murder.
Oh, what an idea! I could go on and on, but that's my basic idea of what should be legalized, and I'm partially serious. Like I really don't see what the problem would be. Put an age restriction on it. Charge up the wazoo for it. What's the problem? It's unethical.
I think maybe make it voluntary.
So hold on, people have to volunteer to fight to the death. Who's going to volunteer? Who's going to volunteer?
Maybe I don't.
Force prison inmates to do it.
Maybe.
What's the problem, Tommy?
So, because it could be a fun idea. I just think forcing people to fight to the death is a little barbaric. And then also, even if it's not barbaric, giving them celebrity status might even be a little weirder too.
They're gonna die anyway.
I mean, they're gonna die, but it's like you're giving people someone to root for, potentially, which
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're rooting. Okay, think of it this way. Yes, you're rooting for someone who did something terrible, but you're rooting for them to kill someone else who also did something terrible. And in the end, there can be only one winner. At the end of this, say there's a season of gladiatorial killings, right? Say there's a season. You're only going to have one winner. So you will today take a whole prison worth of inmates and have them fight to the death until there's one left. You just got rid of all but one of those horrible people. Now, I know there's a separate issue here on whether they deserve to die or not, truly. I don't care about that. They all do. But
hypothetically, if, the death penalty is still a thing, I guess can generate some tax revenue from it or something.
Exactly.
I guess
exact so. Tax revenue. Put that money to building schools, helping communities,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like Yeah, what you said, something that will eventually um help people not end up on death row so they don't have to do that until the government realizes this thing is so profitable that they want to keep making people go to prison more. But anywho,
That's smart. What you just said, that's a step ahead of what I was thinking.
oh God,
Yeah, exactly. There'd be some conspiracy that the
because
government probably frames people for the crimes they didn't even commit just so they can go to the thing and the government can make a bunch of money off of it.
probably, yeah.
Mm. Or
Or
just put them in a submersible and send them down to the Titanic and see if they make it or not. Put
yeah,
some dickhead who doesn't know what the hell he's doing with an Xbox controller and just send him down there and see what
I gotta
happens.
say the memes that came out of that was like one of the best parts of this year, I think.
I feel bad because a kid died, but like,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I feel bad for the kid, but I don't think about him when I'm laughing at the at billionaires and everyone else.
yeah. And if you need to ease your conscience about it, they didn't even know they were dying. They were so far down that the second that hole cracked, they were gone. So,
Yeah,
um, I'm pretty sure their bodies probably turned into like pizza as soon as that happened. But that's whatever. What we can steer
yeah.
away from that.
Which actually fun fact about that, because their bodies just like liquefied.
Yeah.
Um, there's a good chance within the next, few weeks, if you order North Atlantic salmon, you might be able to literally eat the rich.
Where did you hear this? Good
Uh,
Lord.
somewhere on the internet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, what do you think should be legalized?
All right. So I didn't type it down. I know you said no weed. I always felt that drugs should be decriminalized, but that would also make them less fun.
Yeah.
So here are things that are illegal that should be legal. Um, Number one, speeding in the left-hand lane. Um, you shouldn't get pulled over for speeding in the left-hand lane. That's dumb. Number two, you should be able to walk around with alcoholic beverages on the streets. I mean, not like literally the streets, but like on the sidewalks. Like you should be able to walk around with it. Like the U.S. alcohol laws are weird. Like, when you go to a liquor store or whatever, and like you buy a bottle of liquor, like they have to put it in a paper bag because you can't see it for some reason. It's just weird. I don't get it. Um, these two ones are very annoying. Sleeping in your car is illegal, believe it or not. Um, it should not be. It's technically illegal.
Yeah.
Um, and then also, this is actually illegal. Putting money in other people's parking meters.
Huh.
Yeah, which it's like, I'm sorry for wanting to help someone out, but they don't want that, apparently.
Wow.
Um, I know a lot of parking meters these days are more digital anyway, like you do it on your phone.
Yeah.
But like, but even so, it's like, why you gotta do that?
Those are good. I had no idea about any of those laws. That's true. Those are all dumb.
Yeah. And then another one, emulation of video games when the game publisher has not used it in forever is technically illegal. And this one's kind of hitting me a little bit because I think there was like a news story the other week that like over 80% of PlayStation 2 games are like just going to be lost forever. Which I think is really sad because I feel like there's a lot of PS2 games that like I grew up with and cherished quite a bit. And it actually like made me think like of looking up like old gameplay of some of those games that like I don't even have because I don't even know if my PS2 even freaking works anymore. But I'm just like, damn, I had some great times playing Pac-Man World 2. Like I need a remastered version of that or some old other old crap I used to play. Like, you know what I mean, Tristan? You ever had like old video games as a kid that like just don't exist anymore and never will? Or is that
Yeah.
just me?
The one that actually I still play now, kind of still play now, is The Legend of Pirates Online, which is it's an emulation of a game that used to exist, but they put it out for free, so I think they get past any laws against it. But there were some people that recreated this Pirates game. I think I talked about it on a previous episode. And they recreated this Pirates Online game that I liked a lot, but they put it out for free, so it's okay. I guess I don't know, but I still play that. For my teenage years, I should say. Other than that, Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Yeah.
I'm still playing the original disc I got
Yeah.
in 2002 or whatever. So
And then somehow that game's actually pretty easily accessible. And then of course there's Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic,
yeah.
which is like a combination of RCT 1 and 2 for the mobile phone, which I've actually purchased and I've played quite extensively because just like you, love that game.
Other than that, yeah, the Guitar Heroes. I don't even know
Oh,
if those
dude,
are still
Guitar
around.
Hero, man.
Those Rock Band.
Yeah.
I know Grand Theft
Oh,
Auto is still around, but I don't know if you can still play
yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, or San Andreas. Like, do they even still make that for anything? I don't even know.
I I highly they're definitely not made for like the newer PlayStations most likely, but I feel like remastered versions have been put on Steam or something.
Hmm. Because
Like
San
cuz
Andreas was classic.
yeah, cuz like GTA was a huge franchise and yeah, San Andreas like really fucking changed the game. Like that one's very popular. And I've always been a Vice City guy myself and I know that one gets a lot of love too. Um yeah, man.
Yeah. But those are I agree with all those. And I think there's certain ways to get around because like when you said the alcohol thing, like I know because I just said I'm going to Vegas soon. I've been to Vegas 5 times. You can walk up and down the strip with open alcohol there.
Yeah.
No
Like
problem.
I think Vegas it's legal, New Orleans it's legal too.
Hmm.
But like I'm pretty sure like New York City and just like any other major city for some reason it's like why?
Yeah, I don't know. It is weird. I mean, maybe it's easier to control people from possibly drunk driving if every establishment that sells alcohol says, "Hey, you can't bring this out the door. You can't bring this outside."
Yeah.
Um, because that does at least kind of put a limit on how quickly you can drive after consuming. Um,
Because I'm just thinking like
but
it's not illegal in Europe, but also they're not as stupid as us. So
yeah, I agree.
I feel like there's just a lot of laws because people are stupid.
They sure are stupido.
You know what? Actually, speaking of driving laws, you know what shouldn't be illegal?
hmm,
Rolling stop sign.
I don't know about that one.
You don't know about that one?
So hold on. You think you should be able to roll through a stop sign? Like, should you still slow down?
Well, okay, no. Should still have to slow down, of course. But like, if like you're going towards a stop sign and like you don't like you're like slowing down, but like you don't quite stop and there's nobody coming, I think you should be able to just keep going through without completely stopping.
Yeah. If there's no one there, I think that's fine.
Yeah, of course, if there's nobody there. Of course, like if somebody's like, about to come, like if you're cutting somebody off, then fuck you, you're an asshole. Maybe you should, yeah. But like I remember my mom was a really funny story once that when she was a teenager, like 16, she got pulled over by a cop for rolling through a stop sign, and then her mom, my grandma, just happened to drive by when the cop pulled her over and actually got out and screamed at the officer, like she's a teenager. Why, why are you giving her a ticket or something? Like, it's been a while since my mom told me this story, but I just think that's funny that my grandma just Karened a police officer out of getting my mom a ticket for rolling through a stop sign. Um,
Dang.
Thank you, Grandma Bobby.
Hmm.
That's funny as fuck.
I don't know, but me and you, we both live in Florida. I don't know if you have four-way stops anywhere near your usual routes, four-way
Yeah,
stop signs, but
four-way stops. Yeah, no,
woo,
rolling stop through that would be. Mm,
yeah, yikes on
yeah, no.
bikes. But because I have to drive through a couple every once in a while where I live, and people just don't understand. Like
Oh yeah.
it's an equation that has four parts, right?
Hmm.
You have to think of like, okay, I stopped. When did these other three cars stop? Whose turn is it? And people can't compute such complicated equations in their brain. But anyway, but I get it. Yeah, if no one's around, like, you should be able to go through it, no problem. It should be like like a blinky yellow light. Yield. You should yield.
Oh, sorry. I thought of another really stupid thing that happened. So I once had to take a street safe class because I got a speeding ticket, and taking this dumb class on a Saturday helped my insurance or something stupid. There was somebody that also had to take the class. Get this. And this was when I lived in North Carolina, by the way. So he went through a red light on his bicycle in the middle of the night.
You need to take a traffic class for that.
Yeah, no, like he got a fucking $100-something ticket for running a red light on his bicycle in the middle of the fucking night in North Carolina. Like, what a fucking dickhead that officer. Like, why would he do that?
Wow. That's insane.
Right.
That makes me upset. But do you have anything else that should be legalized?
Yeah, abortion.
Oh yeah, I did forget. I did forget that one. I should have included that in
Yeah.
my.
Fuck you, Supreme Court.
But yeah, so that's good stuff there. Good ideas, good thoughts. If you want to legalize murder or anything else, let us know in the comments. Or send us an
I
email.
can go for some murder.
Murder, Christmas murder, all sorts of things. Worder. So we have a Yelp review here, and I'm actually just going to insert it because it's actually an audio book, an excerpt from an audio book. So I'm going to throw that in right here.
Yelp review. Yelp review. Yeah!
All right, so Tragedy at the Truck Stop is a romantic drama taking place in 2002 about a young woman named Lainey who works at an Arizona truck stop travel agency who falls in love with a trucker who's only passing through to eat and get fuel. The first 2 chapters describe Lainey Duncan's upbringing on an Arizona ranch in the 80s and 90s, where she always watched old romance movies, her favorite being The Petrified Forest with Humphrey Bogart and Bette Davis. So here we go. Chapter 3. Love is a sickness. It was one of those slow mornings, the type of day where you look out the window and for some reason expect the landscape to have changed, but it was the same cactus plant and swarm of gnats that have taken up permanent residence outside the store's entrance. I was standing hunched over onto the counter, staring off onto the highway, but my imagination existed only in my childhood home in the 80s and 90s, where I always watched old romance movies. My favorite being The Petrified Forest with Humphrey Bogart and Bette Davis. A few dull moments later, I stood up and pulled out my crossword book from under the counter and began filling in the words as they came. I heard the doorbell chime and murmured the most lazy, "Hello, welcome," I could muster. All I heard back was a low-pitched, manly grunt. I didn't pay any mind to it, as it was just another one of the many sleepless truck drivers that pass through every day just to fill up on gas and eat something.
I'm just here to fill up on gas and eat something,
the man exclaimed. I looked up to see the man, and every syllable of sound was taken from my lungs as if they were passengers on a cruising airplane that just had all its windows shattered. He walked in with a severe limp, with each step using an extraordinary amount of energy to swing his right leg forward. His unsymmetrical walk caused his bad leg to swing out and knock over a tower of Arizona magnets, but this beautiful soul was without a care in the world. I knew that this man was just a feather in the wind, his truck bringing him from place to place on this ever-mysterious earth. It was a level of freedom that I've only ever dreamed about. He grabbed a few sticks of jerky and a Red Bull and approached the travel agency counter where I was nervously fashioning my hair and straightening up my uniform. His large, strong, tattooed hands threw down the jerky onto the counter and stared blankly into my eyes as if waiting for me to take some sort of action. I couldn't get a word out through a few nervous laughs, but eventually muttered that this was the counter for the travel agency, and that a clerk could ring him up at the other side of the room.
I can't hear. Fireworks accident. What?
The man shouted. The echoes of his gargantuan voice had no effect on my mesmerized state. I just examined what I could see of him in utter captivation. Hanging off of his soda-stained overalls was some sort of truck driver ID, with the name of Harrison Crotchstink prominently typed on the flimsy plastic. I knew Harrison was in the very same state of euphoria as I was, as he just stared blankly right back at me for a few moments before shouting,
"Useless fucking travel store! God damn it, bitch whore!"
and performing his unique walk across the room, every other step causing a roaring boom on the ground, as if being caused by a man with a severe immobility dilemma. You know, I could use the agency's resources to go somewhere nice, maybe Paris, I said nervously.
Good for you, shithead,
he said. I mean, maybe you and I could go together. The man spewed vomit directly onto my face.
What?
I didn't immediately realize that my head was now covered in day-old, partially digested beef jerky.
Instead, I assumed he said yes, and I began a long, rambling monologue about our future together. We could live the rest of our days in the cab of your truck, and I could be your Mrs. Harry Crotchstink. We could eventually settle down in the small house in a quiet neighborhood, spending the rest of our time together as I succumb to my chronic bronchitis, and live the last moments of my life feeling the warm embrace of your gentle pats on my head, where I will drift off into eternity and await your arrival at the gates of heaven for an unending lifetime of bliss. Harry then shit himself so bad that crackhead buying scratch-offs came down to earth long enough to scream,
Ooh, doggy, look at all that mud. That's a spicy meatball.
Harry hastily grabbed a travel brochure off the counter and gave himself a quick yet aggressive wipe. He quickly limped out the door, got back into his truck, and drove away to some far-off corner of God's country. I was heartbroken. Just as quickly as he came, he was gone. I stood there as if my whole world had ended. It was half an hour before I realized my boss was yelling at me to clean up the various messes around me, which were being made worse by the crackhead who at this point had taken off his shoes and filled them with the excrement of my recently lost soulmate. Chapter 4. If the Shoe Shits. Alright, Tristan back real quick. The chapters in between where I'm about to jump to cover the periods of her life when the woman quits the travel agency and attempts to open a doomed-for-failure kazoo store and briefly dates one of the Backstreet Boys. Let's continue. Chapter 6. Love Comes Swiftly. Amy rang the doorbell around 3, and we left for the stadium around 5. Amy had been a Taylor Swift fan for a few years, but I only listened occasionally if it came on the radio. We were lucky to have even gotten tickets. I later found out that her 2019 tour was completely sold out. It had been 17 years since the events at the truck stop. I thought about it daily, several times in fact, although the intense feelings associated with the altercation had subsided over the years. The first few songs of the concert were great fun. It was so nice to be with Amy again. Her fiancé Clay had just proposed to her a few weeks prior, and the Amy Underbark I knew all my life was about to become Mrs. Amy Wallaby. I pretended to be happy for her, but inside there was a raging fire of jealousy that her dream was about to come true, yet my love had slipped away from me so long ago. These jealous feelings distracted me from the concert for a few moments, and I found myself gazing about all the happy couples around me. I looked only a few feet away in my very row of seats, and had all my feelings taken away from me in an instant. It was him. Harry Crotchstink was right there in the stadium. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. 17 years of time and memory slipped away from me as I stood there, feeling the same thing I felt all those years ago in that arid desert. I don't know how long I stared. My attention didn't come back to me until a song or two later. I quickly turned back towards the stage, but couldn't think about anything else. He was with someone, a woman. I glanced back over quickly enough to look at their hands. I felt such disgust looking at the rings on their fingers. Her ring was very similar to the ring that I had always dreamt of, and it sickened me even more to know that he had gotten it and given it to anyone but me. It was then that a wave of excitement rushed over me, and I knew what I had to do next. I got the attention of a stadium worker and explained to him that everyone in our row was one big group, there for what would be a surprise proposal, and that I wanted Taylor Swift to help. The worker went up to the top and spoke into a manager's ear, who nodded and walked inside. I was so nervous, but at the same time everything felt so right. There wasn't an ounce of hesitation in me. A few songs later, Taylor announced there was a very special couple in the audience, and the spotlight shined a magnificent, warm beam of light onto our section of seats. My whole life had led to this moment. It was like Betty Davis seeing Leslie Howard again after she thought he was gone forever. I walked over to where the man was, got down on one knee. I asked in 4 short words the whole world, my whole world. He stood there in a confused silence, looking back and forth between the woman standing at his side and me. This brief period of just a few seconds was an eternity. Every thought in my head being painted on an imaginary canvas, with that fateful day 17 years ago illustrated with vibrant colors of remembrance on one side, and the unknown but extraordinary future fading to black on the other. Harold became suddenly aggressive and began bashing my head in with the Taylor Swift bobblehead. He struck me 18 or 19 times with the strength of 1,000 Romeos, but the physical pain did not matter to me. as I may have well been, in fair Verona. I lay there with blood pouring out of my nose and ears while security took Harry out of sight. I felt no pain. I felt no hurt, no agony. I was at peace. I muttered the prophetic words that had once slipped through my lips a long time ago, but not long forgotten. I lived the last moments of my life feeling the warm embrace of your gentle pats on my head, where I will drift off into eternity and await your arrival at the gates of heaven for an unending lifetime of bliss. The stars above me shone bright through the night sky, displayed unobstructed before my eyes with the beauty that can't be described or written, but can only be compared with the beauty one feels when given such satisfying closure for a tragic parting of ways that would never be resolved. It was over. I was in another dimension. Some may call it the afterlife, but not to me. It was something else. It was just he and I, a void of blackness where there was no up or down, no sense of location, just existential being. I was alone for now, but that did not matter. The perfect eternity would be here in a matter of a few short earthly years. And now, I wait.
All right, and that was our Yelp review for.
Whoa, man, that was
Whoa.
crazy.
I know you were very shocked at that one, weren't you?
I really was, especially like when he said that one thing. Like,
Yeah.
damn,
Oh my, can you believe
was
that happened?
God, no, I can't, man. That's insane.
My goodness gracious me. Anyway, thanks for listening. Tommy, you've got the outro. I'm gonna shut up.
Oh yeah. Thanks for listening. Rate 5 stars, like, comment, subscribe, bell icon, give us money or something. Tristan, you remember all that stuff. You don't have to give us that much money, only like a couple dollars or something, since we have to pay a tiny bit of money to publish this show. Yeah.
And so, but if bye.
Two useless organisms. Two useless organisms.